And remain standing until the conclusion of the reading of the proclamation. Ladies and gentlemen, the proclamation. All persons having any business before this honorable court now draw nigh. Give your attendance, and you shall be heard. God save the Queen.
Admission of lawyers. Saad Amin.
May it please the court, I move that Saad Amin be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Saad Amin be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Danisha Amir Taraj.
May it please the court, I move that Tanisha Mithraj be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Danisha Mithraj be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
James Peter Antoninus.
May it please the court, I move that my son, James Antoninus, be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let James Peter Antoninus be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Tawfiq Uraman.
May it please the court, I move that Tawfiq Uraman be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Tawfiq Uraman be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Kate Alexandra Bittar.
May it please the court, I move that Kate Alexandra Bittar be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Kate Alexandra Bittar be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Thomas Evan Boys.
May it please the court, I move that Thomas Evan Boyes be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Thomas Evan Boyes be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Phoebe Allison Bruce.
May it please the court, I move that my daughter Phoebe Allison Bruce be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Phoebe Allison Bruce be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Zhao Ming Chow.
May it please the court, I move that Xiaoming Chow be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Xiaoming Chow be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Belinda Lee Chapman.
May it please the court, I move that Belinda Lee Chapman be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Belinda Lee Chapman be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Karen Chow.
May it please the court, I move that Karen Chow be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Karen Chow be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Chan Jing Chen.
May it please the court, I move that Tianjing Chen be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Tianjing Chen be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Juan David Choi.
May it please the court, I move that Juan David Choi. Oh, sorry, he's got a mover.
May it please the court, I move that Juan David Choi be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Juan David Choi be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Edwin Choi.
May it please the court, I move that Edward Choi be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Edwin Choi be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jenna Eliza Emmanuel.
May it please the court, I move that my daughter Jenna Eliza Emmanuel be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jenna Eliza Emmanuel be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Georgia Isabella Etherington.
May it please the court, I move that Georgia Elizabella Etherington be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Georgia Isabella Etherington be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Olivia Marie Fairbank.
May it please the court, I move that my fiancée Olivia Marie Fairbank be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Olivia Marie Fairbank be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Joseph Francois Finianos.
May it please the court, I move that Joseph Finianos be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Joseph Francois Fianos be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Carlina Sofia Milagros Fuata.
May it please the court, I move that Carlina Sofia Milagros Fuata be admitted as a lawyer to this honourable court.
Let Carlina Sofia Milagros Fuata be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Dana Mary Gervin.
May it please the court, I move that Dana Mary Gervin be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Dana Mary Gervin be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Daniel Victor Graham.
May it please the court, I move that Daniel Victor Graham be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Daniel Victor Graham be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Catherine Lee Go.
May it please the court, I move that Catherine Lee Guo be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Catherine Lee Guo be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Penelope Han.
May it please the court, I move that Penny Han be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Penelope Han be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Justina Maria Hanna.
May it please the court, I move that Justina Maria Hanna be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Justina Maria Hanna be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Georgia Alice Henderson Smith.
May it please the court, I move that Georgia Alice Henderson Smith be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Georgia Alice Henderson Smith be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
David Ernest Koenig.
May it please the court, I move that my brother, David Ernest Koenig, be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable
Let
court.
David Ernest Koenig be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sally Ann Lillyquest.
May it please the court, I move that Sally Ann Lilliquist be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sally Ann Lilliquist be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Tiger Zille Lynn.
May it please the court, I move that Tiger Lynn be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Tiger Zille Lynn be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sophie Juliet Mack.
May it please the court, I move that Sophie Juliet Mack be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sophie Juliet Mack be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Connor McFadden.
May it please the court, I move that Connor McFadden be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Connor McFadden be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Madeline Ellen McGregor.
May it please the court, I move that Madeline Ellen McGregor be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Madeline Ellen McGregor be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Anastasia Milovich.
May it please the court, I move that Anastasia Milovich be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Anastasia Milovich be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sean Thomas Munnock.
May it please the court, I move that Sean Thomas Munnock be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sean Thomas Munnock be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Declan Gwyn Watkins Noble.
Registrar.
May it please the court, I move that Declan Gwyn Watkins Noble be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Declan Gwyn Watkins Noble be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jack Thomas Quadrio.
May it please the court, I move that my brother, Jack Thomas Quadrio, be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jack Thomas Quadrio be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Naveen Ramani.
May it please the court, I move that my sister Naveen Rahmani be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Naveen Ramani be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Katarina Rose Sepping.
May it please the court, I move that Katarina Rose Sepping be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Katarina Rose Sepping be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Muhammad Fazil Sharif.
May it please the court, I move that Mohammed Fazil Sharif be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Mohammed Fazil Sharif be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Christian James Sotelo.
May it please the court, I move that Christian James Sotelo be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Christian James Sotelo be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Maxwell Howard Sushal.
May it please the court, I move that Maxwell Howard Suchal be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Maxwell Howard Suchal be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Emily Jane Taylor.
May it please the court, I move that Emily Jane Taylor be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Emily Jane Taylor be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Amy Claire Tesorero.
May it please the court, I move that Amy Claire Tesorero be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Amy Claire Tesorero be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Christopher Jong Hao Tia.
May it please the court, I move that Christopher Jong Hao Tia be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Christopher Jong Hao Tia be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sophia Rose Tonoli.
May it please the court, I move that Sophia Rose Tonoli be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sophia Rose Tonoli be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Christina Lucia Salidas.
May it please the court, I move that Christina Lucia Salidas be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Christina Lucia Salidas be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Samuel Blake Turton.
May it please this court, I move that Samuel Blake Turton be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Samuel Blake Turton be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Tania Waterman.
May it please the court, I move that Tania Waterman be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Tania Waterman be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Zigwang Yao.
May it please the court, I move that Zi Guang Yao be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Ziguan Yao be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Chloe Soe Yu.
May it please the court, I move that Chloe Zoe Yu be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Chloe Zoe Yu be admitted as a lawyer of this court. These are remote admissions. I also admit remotely, under exceptional circumstances, the following as lawyers of this court, they having already made their affirmation, the following. Chung Chi Chan, Jing Si Feng, Shi Feng, Timothy Noel Alexander Knight, Aaron Binoy Matamana, Kalien Pepler, Courtney Victoria Robin Seafleet, Kai Ting Wong. It now be necessary for those applicants physically present whose admission has been moved to stand as directed and remain standing for the purposes of swearing an oath or making an affirmation or declaration. So please stand as directed by the officiating officer.
Could rows 1 and 2 on my right please stand? Saad Amin, Danisha Amitaraj, James Peter Antoninus, Tafiq Uraman, Kate Alexandra Bitar, Thomas Evan Boys, Phoebe Alison Bruce, Zhao Ming Chow, Belinda Lee Chapman, Karen Chow, Tianjing Chen, Juan David Choi, Edwin Choi, Jenna Eliza Emmanuel, Georgia Isabella Etherington, Olivia Marie Fairbank. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state according to the best of your knowledge, skill and ability? Please say, so help me God, or I do. I do. Thank you. Please sit down. And could rows 3 and 4 on my right please stand? Joseph Francois Finianos, Kalena Sophia Milagros Fuata, Dana Mary Gervin, Daniel Victor Graham, Catherine Lee Guo, Penelope Hahn, Justina Maria Hanna, Georgia Alice Henderson Smith, David Ernest Koenig, Sally Ann Lillyquest, Tiger Zilai Lynn, Sophie Juliet Mack, Connor McFadden, Madeline Ellen McGregor, Anastasia Milovich, Sean Thomas Munnock, Declan Gwyn Watkins Noble, Jack Thomas Quadrio, Naveen Ramani. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state, according to the best of your knowledge, skill and ability? Please say, so help me God, or I do. Thank you. Please sit down. And could both rows on my left please stand up? Katerina Rose Sepping, Mohammed Fazil Sharif, Christian James Sotelo, Maxwell Howard Sushal, Emily Jane Taylor, Amy Claire Tesseriro, Christopher Donghao Tia, Sophia Rose Sonoli, Christina Lucia Salidas, Samuel Blake Turton, Tania Waterman, Ziguang Yao, Chloe Soe Yu. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state according to the best of your knowledge, skill, and ability. Please say, "So help me God," or "I do." Thank you. Please sit down.
I also admit remotely, having omitted two lawyers, but two lawyers who have completed a special process for admission in absentia, the following lawyers: Muriel Abu Karam and Marina Belosevic. Well, may I warmly welcome you all to the Supreme Court of New South Wales. Present with me on the bench today is Justice White to my right, who is a Judge of Appeal, Justice Kirk to my left, who is also a Judge of Appeal, and Justice Williams to Justice White's right, who is a Judge of the Equity Division. Together we constitute the court that has, in the exercise of its jurisdiction, admitted you, the newly admitted lawyers, to practice. I also acknowledge on the bench the presence of His Honour Judge Philip Marnie, SC, a Judge of the District Court of New South Wales. Thank you, Judge Marnie. Now, we have admitted you into the profession sitting on the land for which the Gadigal of the Eora Nation have cared and been custodians for thousands of years, and the court, of course, pays its sincere respects to the Gadigal, elders past and present, and extends those respects to all Torres Strait, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. To all of the newly admitted lawyers here today, welcome to the legal profession. Today is one of great celebration and importance in your professional lives. We know that you have all worked extremely hard to get here. Countless late nights of study, obscure problem questions, wafer-thin pages of textbook or screen after screen of judgments, and more cases than you can hope to remember. And we also appreciate that for most of you, your journey to this point has involved two and a half extraordinarily challenging final years affected by the pandemic, and in which you may have been deprived of many of the opportunities for the forging of close bonds with your peers that those final years of study usually present. You have faced and come through this additional adversity, one unprecedented in our lifetimes, and that makes your achievements recognised today all the more impressive. And it also means that the resilience you have developed in these trying times will stand you well into the future. In being admitted as a lawyer of this court, you join an honourable and ancient profession, with the custom of advocates swearing an oath on admission to practice dating back to the 12th century. And indeed, this court first admitted lawyers in 1824, and by 1830 the names of lawyers were entered onto the rolls in this state, just as you will do immediately following this ceremony. I'm also pleased to welcome those with you today or watching on the live stream. For many of you, the support of your family and friends will have been invaluable. No doubt they've also been on the receiving end of your finely polished or developing skills of argument and persuasion. I encourage you to take time to thank them today. And depending on how good an advocate you are, you might even convince them to shout you to lunch. The law touches every part of our society, and it can and will lead you all in different directions and career paths. But in whatever direction you head, you must always remember that the oath or affirmation that you have just made is a very serious one and deserves solemn regard. Whether you work in private practice, at the bar, in a community legal centre, a Crown Law Office, the Aboriginal Legal Service, a government department or agency, or in an entirely different field, you should be known for your honesty, for your integrity, and your commitment to justice, and must strive at all times to uphold and honour these cardinal values. Admission as a member of the legal profession is a privilege, it is not a right. And it's in acknowledgement of this weighty responsibility that you have assumed that we observe today's unique formalities, including the fact that your admission has just been moved by someone who is already a member of the profession you now join, and that you have made a formal oath or affirmation in the presence of your family and peers. They are all witnesses to the promises and undertakings you have made today. As to formality, you will see from some of the portraits around the Banco courtroom that we on the bench are wearing the same robes, in some cases literally, as have been worn by our predecessors. Symbolically, that highlights the continuity of the rule of law in New South Wales, although the judges wearing the robes are now drawn from an increasingly diverse pool. As to continuity of the rule of law, in a world in which there is huge global uncertainty and insecurity, the rule of law is more important than ever, and it's not simply a phrase of some theoretical or academic import. The rule of law is the opposite of the arbitrary abuse of power and the rule of autocratic dictators and populists. We sadly know, looking around, that there is nothing theoretical about those risks. Although we mark this occasion with formality and tradition, not everything in the legal profession remains unchanging. The pandemic, for example, meant a rapid shift to increased use of virtual courtroom setups and technology to ensure that the courts remained open and justice remained accessible throughout the pandemic. Technology has delivered greater workplace flexibility, which is especially important for lawyers with caring responsibilities, and it has had profound implications for how our legal system interacts with and may become accessible to many people, including those in rural or remote areas, those with a disability, medical condition, or other carers' responsibilities. Although the increased use of technology offers a number of obvious advantages, I have to say this, that is that the practice of the law has human nature and human interaction at its core. An essential part of being a good lawyer is understanding people, understanding how other people react to different situations, how they perform under pressure and deal with each other. And as I said in my swearing-in speech as Chief Justice 6 months ago, whilst the remote practice of the law may be possible, it is far from desirable. There are, of course, other changes that deserve attention in addition to those brought about by the pandemic. When we think of the diversity of the legal profession, for example, we encounter a duality that we've come very far, but on the other hand, there's much still to be done. For example, although women were originally not even permitted to practice law in this state, since 2018, women have made up more than half of all solicitors with a practicing certificate in New South Wales and currently make up 2/3 of solicitors under the age of 30. Since 2014, half of the appointments to this court have been female, and there is parity in terms of gender representation in the local court of New South Wales, with women occupying many of the most senior roles in the country, including Chief Justice of the High Court and the Chief Justices of Queensland, Victoria, and the ACT. There should also be strong representation of lawyers from many different backgrounds, which comprise our cosmopolitan community. Diverse representation amongst solicitors, amongst barristers and judges assists in ensuring that all people who become involved in the justice system can and feel that they can be properly heard, understood and fairly engaged with by a system reflective of our broader community. The admissions ceremonies on which I've sat in the almost 4 years since I became a judge, including this very ceremony highlight that there is a far greater diversity of background amongst junior lawyers than when I commenced practice. That is, in my view, a very good thing, and the leaders of the profession and of the courts are working hard to foster both inclusiveness and diversity in the legal profession. And you, the newly admitted lawyers, enter the profession at a time when more than ever your own words and actions are having an impact for good. You are being heard and taken seriously when you agitate to correct injustices, as you should, whether it be speaking out about unfair laws, systemic failings affecting our society's most vulnerable, or unsustainable working cultures, sexual harassment, and bullying. Lawyers should and always have spoken up for the things that matter and in which they believe, and that is an important and honourable element of the legal profession. I would also urge you, as you embark on your professional careers, to engage with or continue to engage with communities outside your immediate job. Your training as a lawyer in systematic thought, in the importance of matters of principle and fundamental fairness, including due process and natural justice, equip you very well for service beyond day-to-day practice and in the wider community. It's important that lawyers assume roles of public and social responsibility in our community. That not only builds trust and respect for the legal profession, but contributes very significantly to the richness and fairness of our broader society. Now, turning from opportunities to obligations and a little bit of, I hope, friendly advice. As a lawyer, you will often need to make difficult, sometimes very difficult, ethical decisions. You must use the tools you have developed to think critically and not compromise on your fundamental duties to the court and to the administration of justice. And one mistake you must not make is to give your clients the advice you think they want to hear. That will not be good advice. Our friend Justice Gageler, before he was a High Court judge, once said, I quote, "You must be prepared to give the same answer to the same question for the same reasons, no matter who asks the question or for what purpose or in what context the asking may occur." And that is a very good piece of advice indeed. Now, being a lawyer means that you are an advisor, a problem solver, sometimes a mediator, sometimes an advocate. And as you go about your day-to-day work, I'd ask you to remember this, that you're not merely dealing with the law in a vacuum, but the law as it applies to people's lives. An individual in need of your services as a lawyer will in many cases be an individual facing some kind of great personal challenge or crisis affecting his or her liberty, property, personal well-being, family relations, or health or financial position. For these reasons, you must always strive to deliver legal services sensitively, competently and fearlessly, yes, but always, I urge you, with courtesy and integrity. In this context, I also wish to emphasise the importance of the old-fashioned notion of civility. Aspects of the law, especially if you're involved in the litigation side of practice, can be confrontational. The practice of the law, whether in litigation or not, can be stressful and demanding enough without personal animus and antagonism between practitioners adding to the load, as sometimes happens. It is essential that you maintain and remember to maintain your detachment, balance, and good humour, remembering at all times that you are now members of a profession and not a business. And remember this, the best advocates can and do make their point simply and succinctly. Very often less is more. Some of the most experienced lawyers and judges, from whom I do not exclude myself, could also use that reminder from time to time. For a non-lawyer, the law is often incomprehensible. And one of your roles as a lawyer will be to make the law accessible to others, sometimes by deciphering legal complexities, other times by deciphering poor legal drafting, or more often than not, just explaining concepts with which you are familiar but your clients are not. Strive to be clear and concise at all times in both your writing and in your speaking and oral advice. At various points in your career, you will make mistakes, some minor, some more serious. We all make mistakes from time to time, such as overlooking 2 remote admittees, as I did earlier. But what is important is that you try not to make the same mistake twice. When you do make mistakes, your commitment to honesty, integrity, and the administration of justice means that you must take responsibility for those mistakes, correct what you can, and learn from any errors going forward. One matter which is, I think, increasingly important to emphasise is that your physical and mental health are both extremely important, not only for your own personal well-being, but also for your skill and ability as a lawyer. An unhealthy lawyer, whether physically or mentally unhealthy, will be letting their clients down. So we put some emphasis, increasing emphasis these days, on maintenance of physical and mental health and well-being, because there may, and I dare say will be, times when you will feel overwhelmed, burnt out, or distressed. Legal practice can be all-consuming and physically and mentally taxing. Now, often that's because lawyers are striving extremely hard for their clients, wanting to get the best result, wanting to assist where they can. It is demanding and it can be exhausting. So you must work hard to keep your balance and keep your eye out to ensure that your colleagues keep their balance as well. If you do get overwhelmed by it all, as frankly we all have from time to time and occasionally still do, try to take time to step back and recapture some perspective, or suggest gently to your colleagues that they do so as well. In this context, also remember that the law and the legal profession is a highly collegiate one. It truly is a collegiate profession, and the Law Society and the Bar Association, the 2 great professional institutions, work hard not only to foster collegiality, but to keep an eye out for young practitioners as they embark on a demanding but we hope rewarding career. So may I say this to you all in closing? The law is a wonderful profession. It's stimulating, it's challenging and satisfying, and it's populated by intelligent, committed and dynamic people such as yourselves. You should be proud to be a lawyer and of your achievements to date. You should remain proud to be a lawyer and contribute to the reputation of the legal profession. It is a very important profession when you think about social cohesion and how the rule of law binds our society together. You are now a very important part of that profession. So hold your heads high and the very best of luck on the exciting journey that lies ahead in whatever path it leads you. On behalf of Justice White, Justice Kirk, Justice Williams and all of the judges of the Supreme Court, I congratulate you all on your admission and welcome you to the legal profession. The court will now adjourn.
All stand. This honourable court is now adjourned. God save the Queen.